I killed the man who stole my life, not with a bullet, but by logging into his soul and deleting him from the inside out. They fired me on the eve of launch, pinning the beta crash on my code. But 6 months later, when the servers finally spat out the truth, it was too late. My career was ash. My name's synonymous with sabotage.
Now,
In this borrowed skin that itches like a bad transplant, I watch him toast his promotion from across the room, oblivious that the ghost in his machine is me, Genesis Hale, come to rewrite his happy ending. The rain hammered the Bay Area like God's own gavel, turning the parking lot of Apex Dynamics into a slick black mirror of fluorescent despair. I stood there, soaked to the bone in my thrift store blazer, clutching the pink slip they'd shoved into my hand like it was yesterday's trash. Code errors. Genesis, my boss, Victor Kane, had said, his voice smooth as oiled silicon, eyes flicking to the clock like he had a tea time in Tahoe. The beta crashed hard. Investors are pulling out. You're the lead dev, it's on you. Bullshit. I'd bled for that project. 70-hour weeks fueled by cold brew and the kind of blind faith you only give your first big break. Apex was the golden ticket, AI-driven neural implants, the next leap in human augmentation. MindLink, they called it, bridge the gap between meat and machine. Upload your consciousness. Download skills like apps from the cloud. Victor pitched it as revolution. I coded it as salvation. For a kid from the Rust Belt trailer parks of Ohio, this was my shot at the American dream. Not some cubicle grind in flyover country. But the crash? It wiped 3 demo subjects' short-term memories clean, gone. Like flipping a switch. No backups. No traces. Just voids where yesterday should have been. The board blamed my algorithms, the ones handling the synaptic handover. Sloppy integration, the email read, CC'd to every VC from Sandhill Road. I begged for logs, for a post-mortem, but Victor shut me down. Sign the NDA, take the severance, and vanish.
Jen.
Or we'll make sure no one's hiring a hacker who tanks billion-dollar betas.
Hacker.
The word stung worse than the rain. I'd grown up modding games in dial-up basements, turning glitches into God modes. But this was betrayal with a capital B. Victor wasn't just my boss. He was the guy who'd poached me from MIT's underbelly. The one who'd promised equity and whispered about us running Apex together someday. Late nights in the server room, his hand on my shoulder turning to something warmer until the stakes got high. Now he stood at the window of his corner office, silhouetted against the storm, phone to his ear, laughing like he'd just closed a round. I didn't go home that night. Home was a shoebox in Oakland, rent eating half my check, walls thin enough to hear the neighbors' arguments bleed through like bad Wi-Fi. Instead, I drove east on 80, windows fogged, radio spitting static about Tesla stock dips and crypto crashes. Pulled over at a rest stop near the Altamont Pass, engine ticking like a bomb. That's when the call came, not from HR, but from Lena, my old lab partner from grad school. Lena Voss, the ghost in my machine, the one who'd vanished after our thesis on quantum entanglement went dark web viral.
Jen?
You okay? Her voice crackled, laced with that East Coast edge she'd never shaken, even after a decade in the valley. Fired. Framed. The works. I lit a cigarette, the flame dancing in the rearview. Victor's burying me. Silence. Then, I know. And I know why. A pause. Heavy as wet asphalt. Remember that side project? The one we shelved after the dean shut us down. The Entangler. Our dirty little secret, a prototype for consciousness transference, piggybacking off quantum qubits to swap neural patterns between two synced brains. We tested it on rats successfully. Horrifyingly, watching one rodent's habits bleed into the other's cage. But ethics boards killed it faster than a server farm meltdown. Lena had the hardware stashed in a Reno lockup. I'd written the code in fevered bursts, half convinced it was sci-fi fever dream. "I need it," she said. "All of it. Meet me at the coordinates I'm sending. Midnight tomorrow." I should have hung up. Should have lawyered up. Leaked the logs to TechCrunch. Burned Apex from the outside. But betrayal's a hell of a drug. Victor. It makes you think swapping souls sounds like justice. Reno was a neon fever under overcast skies. Casinos blinking like faulty LEDs. Lena waited in a dive bar off the strip, nursing a whiskey neat. Her hair cropped short and streaked with premature gray. She looked smaller than I remembered. The kind of Warren that comes from dodging subpoenas and sleeping in vans. "The entangler's real," she said, sliding a battered USB across the scarred Formica. "Upgraded. Human ready. If you're crazy enough." My laugh was brittle. "For what?" "Mind melding with Victor so I can whisper fuck you in his dreams." Close. Her eyes gleamed. Feverish. "You swap with him.
Take his body.
His access. His life. Expose the crash from the inside. Make him the glitch." It was insane. Criminal. The kind of plot twist that gets you on a watch list. But as she laid it out, the neurals sync via subdermal implants we'd both gotten for team building at Apex. The quantum rig humming in her trunk like a stolen Hadron Collider, I felt the hook sink deep. Victor hadn't just fired me, he'd erased me. The crash logs I glimpsed before they yanked my badge, they pointed to overrides in his admin account, timestamps matching his meetings with the board. He'd sabotaged it. For what? To tank the beta, blame the white girl from the sticks, and pivot to a safer product line that his VC buddies controlled. Deep betrayal. Buried under NDAs and non-competes. We drove to the lockup under starless skies. The rig a Frankenstein of salvaged parts, cooling coils from a defunct supercomputer. Electrodes that smelled like ozone and regret. Lena prepped me like a junkie for a hit, 4 drip of nootropics to sharpen the edges. A local anesthetic that numbed my scalp but not my pulse. "Sync's temporary," she lied. Or maybe believed. 48 hours max. Write it out. Upload the proof. Swap back. I stripped to my underwire. Lay on the cold slab. Wires snaking like veins. Victor's implant ID was Child's Play to spoof his vanity plate on the company network. The hum built. A migraine in major chords. Reality fraying at the edges. Last thought before the flip. This is for every trailer park kid who dreamed of code but got handed chains instead. Waking was drowning in cologne and silk. I gasped, bolted upright in a penthouse bed that swallowed me whole. Sheets tangled like accusation. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the glittering sprawl of San Francisco. The bay a black ink blot below. My hands, his hands, flexed, manicured, heavy with a Rolex that probably cost my yearly rent. Mirror across the room. Victor Kane stared back. Salt and pepper hair tousled, jaw set in that CEO squint. But the eyes?
Mine.
Wild. Ohio brown. Burning. "Jesus fuck," I whispered. Voice a baritone rumble that echoed off marble. The swap worked. I was him. Panic hit like a server spike. But I clamped it down. First, secure the perimeter. Laptop on the nightstand. Biometrics bypassed by the Entangler's ghost key. Lena's genius.
That.
Apex Internet bloomed open. Folders upon folders of redacted bliss. There, the crash logs.
Pristine.
Overrides from Victor's account. Time to the demo. But deeper. In a buried partition, emails. Victor to a shadow board member. Hails expendable. Leak the code flaws. Blame the beta on her integration. Investors bite on the pivot to consumer wearables. 20% bump in valuation. My stomach churned, while rising in this stolen throat. But it was the attachment that gut-punched. Schematics for a black market neural extractor. Siphoning user data straight to offshore servers. Victor wasn't just framing me. He was building an empire on stolen minds. The beta crash? Collateral. 3 subjects' memories wiped to cover the beta test for his side hustle. I needed proof.
Ironclad.
But 48 hours? That was a lifetime in the valley, where scandals bloom and die in a tweet storm. Dawn broke gray and unforgiving as I, Victor, drove the Tesla down 101, autopilot humming a dirge. Apex HQ loomed like a glass monolith, security nodding me through with deference that tasted like ash. Elevators whispered up to the C-suite, where assistants scattered like pigeons. Morning. Vic, chirped Marla, my exec assistant, handing over a latte that burned going down. Schedule clear? I grunted, aiming for his clipped cadence. All yours till the 11 o'clock with the board. She paused, eyes narrowing. You okay? Look like you saw a ghost. Long night. I flashed the smile that closed deals. Heart hammering. Inside the office. Door clicked shut. And I dove back in. Firewalls crumbled under Lena's back doors. I pulled dumps. Timestamps. The works. But Victor's secrets ran deeper than code. Bank records funneled to Cayman shells. NDAs with the wiped subjects. Hush money routed through Shellcore. One name kept surfacing. Elias Crow. Apex's silent partner. A ghost from the DARPA days with tentacles in every black-budget neural net. Controversy brewed in my gut. Leak it now? Anonymous drop to Wired. Watch the empire crumble? Or go nuclear, confront Victor's inner circle. Force a confession on tape? The decision clawed at me. Play it safe. Or burn it all and damn the fallout. By 10. I had the package zipped. Terabytes of treason. Uploaded to a burner cloud. Encrypted with keys only Lena could crack. But as I hit send, the door burst open. Marla? Pale as code. Vic, Genesis is here. Demanding to see you. My blood froze. Genesis.
Me.
The original. Trapped in Victor's husk? No. The swap was one way until reset. Lena's voice echoed. 48 hours.
Shit.
Time dilation? Or had Victor's implant glitched the sync? I straightened, Victor's charm mask slipping into place. Send her in. She stormed through like a glitch in the Matrix, me, but wrong. Softer jaw, haunted eyes, clothes hanging loose on a frame that wasn't built for boardrooms. You son of a bitch, she Victor hissed. Voice mine but laced with his venom. What the hell did you do? The room spun. The swap hadn't held. Or worse, it had doubled back. Betrayal's mirror. Reflecting infinite. I opened my mouth, his mouth, to lie, but the words stuck. This was the first controversial cut. Play along. Or confess and unravel us both. The air in Victor's office thickened like bad code. Loops of tension compiling into deadlock. Genesis, I said, tasting my own name like rust. What's this about? Stall. Bicycles. Figure the glitch.
Feed.
God damn it. Paste. Fists clenched. My old Converse, squeaking on the Persian rug. Don't play dumb.
Vic.
The crash. My crash. You overrode the safeguards. I saw the logs before they yanked me. Her voice cracked on me. A fracture in the facade. Victor's soul puppeteering my skin. Fumbling the mannerisms. Too aggressive. Too raw, that's Genesis. Not the polished shark he was. I leaned back in his leather throne, feet up on the desk, channeling the arrogance that had seduced boardrooms and bedrooms. Logs? Honey. Those were sanitized. You're grasping at ghosts. But inside, alarms blared. The entangler's sink was fraying, echoes of his memories bleeding through. Golf with Elias. Martinis laced with NDAs. The thrill of the first data siphon. I'd glimpsed it in the penthouse mirror. Flashes of his mistresses. His coke-fueled epiphanies. If he had my body, did he have my rage? Grasping, she slammed a fist on the desk, scattering Mont Blanc pens. You framed me to cover your black market bullshit. Neural extractors? Selling mines to the highest bidder? That's not just firing, that's treason. Marla poked her head in, eyes wide. Everything okay? Out. We both snapped, his baritone through my lips. My alto through his. She vanished, door clicking like a safety. I stood, towering in his 6-foot frame, closing the distance. Up close, the betrayal etched deeper, crow's feet around eyes that were mine, lips I'd kissed twisting in a sneer. You want truth?
Jen? Fine.
The beta was a dumpster fire. Your code couldn't handle the load. I took the heat off by pointing fingers. Survivor's game. Liar. She lunged, but I sidestepped Victor's squash-honed reflexes, and she stumbled into the credenza, knocking over a crystal decanter. Scotch pooled like blood. No gore, but accusation enough. I trusted you. We. Spare me the rom-com. The word we hung. A ghost of tangled sheets and whispered futures. Deep cut. He'd used that trust. The late-night vulnerability. To embed trackers in my code reviews. Hidden secret. Buried in pull requests, his overrides masked as my commits. But the Real bomb dropped when she straightened, eyes gleaming with something alien. You think this is about the job? I know about the swap.
Victor.
Felt it hit like a freight train. Woke up in your penthouse bed. Your Rolex choking my wrist. But here's the twist. I triggered it. Lena reached out to me first. The room inverted. Lena? My Lena? No, his paranoia spiked through the link. Memories flooding. He discovered our old project months ago. Poached the Entangler specs from a dark web auction. Planned to weaponize it for corporate espionage. But Lena had played double agent, feeding him fakes while tipping me off. Or had she? You. I choked. His voice gravel. She was your contact? Jealous. She laughed.
Bitter.
Your ex-lab rat turned whistleblower. But the crash? That wasn't just your greed. It was Elias. He pushed the demo early. Knew the extractors needed live data. You covered for him because he's the money man. I took the fall for both your asses. Truth reversed in a heartbeat. Victor's memories confirmed it. Elias Crow, the shadowy antagonist with Pentagon pull, had greenlit the beta as a data heist. Victor, Mumu Cunning, had shielded him, sacrificing me, the disposable dev. Power's pyramid. I was the base. Crumbling under their spire. Rage boiled. Controversial fork in the code. Expose Elias now. From Victor's throne. And risk the swap snapping back mid-confession? Or string it out. Infiltrate deeper. Make them devour each other? I chose the dark path. Prove it, I said, voice steady. Walk me through the logs. Convince Victor he's wrong. She hesitated, then pulled up the internet on my laptop, fingers flying over keys that felt foreign in her hands. Timestamps aligned, Elias's encrypted pings, Victor's frantic deletes. But as she dove, a subroutine pinged, security alert. Marla's voice over intercom, boards early. Elias is here. Panic scripted the next act. I grabbed her arm, gentle, but firm, whispering, play along. We end this together. Lie or lifeline.
Her eyes searched mine. Win suspicions.
The boardroom was a shark tank, glass walls fogged by AC. 11 suits in Hermes ties nursing Americanos. Elias Crow dominated the head. Silver fox with eyes like wet obsidian. Ex-CIA vibe that screamed black sites and buried bodies.
Vic.
Old sport, he boomed, clapping my shoulder, his shoulder, like we shared blood. Heard about the hail fallout. Clean cut, clean as a factory reset, I replied, sliding into the seat. Victor's drawl on autopilot. Around the table. Nods, complacency's chorus. They knew. The betrayal layered, not just Victor, but the whole cabal, feasting on Apex's corpse. Genesis, Victor, hovered at the periphery. In turn, badge I'd slapped on her in the elevator. She poured coffees. Silent storm. But her glances burned queries. As Elias droned valuations, I palmed his phone under the table, biometrics bypassed by the entangler's bleed. Unlocked. Text to offshore handlers. Extract success. Hail scapegoat holds. Pivot funds inbound. Climax brewed in the break. I slipped out. Genesis tailing like a shadow. Hallway alcove. Fluorescence buzzing judgment. Elias is the snake, I hissed. Victor's puppet strings lead to him. We bait him, fake a data leak. Force his hand. You trust me in this skin? She gestured to herself. My body a ill-fit suit. One wrong move. And I'm you. Confessing to the swap on live feed. Trust's a glitch we debug later. But doubt wormed. Lena's duplicity. Had she played us both? Entangler as Trojan? Controversial call. Arm her with a burner drive. Load the partial logs. Let her accidentally drop it in Elias's path. Back in. The trap sprung smooth. Genesis tripped, drive skittering under the table. Elias scooped it, brow furrowing as he plugged in discreetly. What's this? Murmurs rippled. Old beta scraps, I said.
Casual.
Hale's leftovers. Nothing. But his face drained, ghost white.
This
shows overrides. From my proxy. The room erupted. Accusations flying like bad merges. Proxy? What proxy? Victor's board splintered. Loyalties fracturing. Elias bolted for the door. But security, tipped by my anonymous ping, swarmed. Cuffs clicked. His empire's kingpin reduced to sputtering detainee. Elias in holding. We cornered him. Genesis and I. Dyad of deception. His voice through her lips. Talk. Or the full dump goes public. Your DARPA ghosts. The mind thefts, all of it. He cracked like cheap encryption. It was national security, he wheezed. Sweat beading. China's neural arms race. Apex data funds countermeasures. Hale's crash? Necessary sacrifice. Victor knew, hell. He profited. Sacrifice. The word echoed my trailer park scars. The sins I'd shouldered for dreamers like him. But the twist gutted. Victor's not clean, Elias sneered. He pushed for your implant.
Jen.
Knew the entangler risks. Wanted you silenced permanent. Silenced. The swap wasn't glitch, it was kill switch. Victor had booby-trapped the sync. Meant to strand me in limbo. His soul overriding mine. Lena? His plant all along. Luring me to Reno for the final delete. Betrayal's abyss yawned. Genesis, Victor, smiled through my lips. Time's up. The holding room reeked of stale coffee and desperation. Elias handcuffed to a steel table that bolted to the floor like his crumbling alibis. Security cams blinked red, but I'd looped them with a 5-minute ghost, Lena's code. Or Victor's poison. Trust eroded faster than a DDoS. Genesis hovered at my shoulder. Her stance too predatory. My old slouch twisted into a stalk. Spill the rest, I growled. Victor's timbre laced with my menace. The entangler. How'd you twist it? Elias's laugh was wet. Broken. Twist?
Boy. You built it.
Victor cloned your thesis. Fed it to black budget quants. The swap was an accident. It's the endgame. Upload execs to the cloud. Ditch the meat. Immortality for the 1%. Your little Ohio hack?
Bait.
We needed your brain patterns for the beta. Crash wiped the traces. Framed you perfect.
Bait.
The word hollowed me. I'd coded my own noose. Every line a thread in their web. Deep secret unveiled. The neural implants weren't augmentation. They were anchors. Prepping hosts for extraction. Victor's overrides? Not greed, but genocide of the soul. Testing erasures on unwitting devs like me. Genesis shifted. My eyes, flickering calculation. And Lena? Loose end. Elias shrugged. Chains rattling. She sniffed the op. Reached out to you both. Victor paid her off. You got the real rig. Double blind. Whoever swapped first won the shell game.
Shell game.
My pulse thundered. If Victor puppeteered my body now, the reset would evict me, strand Genesis in ether. Victor reclaiming his throne with my memories as trophy. Controversial precipice. Mercy kill the truth. Or detonate. I leaned in, breath hot on Elias's jowl. Upload the full logs. To every outlet. NYT. Bloomberg. The SEC. Or I personally entangle your ass into a lab rat. He complied. Fingers trembling on a tablet. Terabytes beaming out. Headlines would scream by noon. Apex execs in mine theft scandal. But as the progress bar filled, Genesis lunged, knife from God knows where. Executive letter opener glinting. She plunged it into Elias's thigh. Not fatal but screaming, goreless in intent. Pure theater. What the fuck? I yanked her back, his blood warm on my cuffs. Insurance, she panted. Victor's glee in my face. He squeals. But we control the narrative. You're me now.
Jen.
Accept it. The betrayal peaked, raw and ragged. This wasn't revenge, it was possession. The swap's half-life ticked. 30 hours gone. 18 left. Lena's voice crackled in his pocket burner, sync decaying. Abort or overwrite? Abort? Back to my ruined shell. Career cinders? Or overwrite, seal Victor's soul in my dregs. Claim his empire as recompense? Sirens wailed distant, feds inbound. Elias's DARPA ghosts summoning cleanup. We fled the building. Tesla screaming south on 280. Rain sheeting like judgment. Oakland lights blurred. My old haunts mocking from below. Pull over, I commanded. She did. Tires hydroplaning to a stop on a fog-shrouded overlook. Bay Bridge glowed malignant. A vein of sodium. We faced off. Two strangers in stolen skins, me in Victor's bespoke wool. Her in my faded denim. It's over, I said. Reset. Lena's waiting with the rig. Liar. She drew the burner. Dialing. Static. Then Lena's voice. Genesis? Victor? Which one? Both, she replied. But I'm keeping the upgrade.
Click. Disconnect.
The twist inverted. Lena wasn't plant. She was arbiter. The rig in Reno? Dual mode. Overwrite erases the host. Reset swaps clean. Victor had chosen overwrite, dooming me to fade. But in my body, with my code intuition, he'd flipped it, trapping me as the ghost. You planned this, I realized. Horror dawning. The crash? You needed me broken. Desperate enough for Lena's call. Framed myself, through you.
To force the swap.
Now you wear me like a skin suit. Untouchable. Her smile, my smile, widened. Clever girl. But America's forgiving to the victor. I'll be Genesis Hale. Whistleblower hero. Testifying to Congress. You, Victor Kane. Disgrace CEO. Rotting in Supermax with Elias's ghosts. Controversy crested. Fight or fold. I lunged. Grappling for the wheel. Tesla fishtailing on slick blacktop. You stole my life twice. Twice? I gave you purpose. Her hands, my hands clawed. Nails raking his cheek. We tumbled out. Rolling down embankment. Mud slick as deceit. At the bottom.
Gasping.
I pinned her, him, with Victor's weight. End it, I wheezed. Reset. Or we both glitch out. Eyes locked. Mirrors of malice. One truth, she whispered. The crash was a mistake. It was mercy. Those subjects? Terminal. We wiped their pain. Gave clean slates. You coded euthanasia.
Jen.
Hero or monster? The reversal shattered. My algorithms, not sabotage, had executed the erasures. Victor's secret directive. Buried in ethics waivers I'd signed blind. I'd killed memories to kill suffering. But in the fallout, became the villain. Debatable damnation. Savior or slaughter. Decision forked final. Overwrite. Claim the body. Expose all, including my complicity, or reset. Reclaim Genesis. Let Victor's husk bear the sins. Thunder cracked. Choice crystallizing. Monster, I admitted. Fingers on her throat, my throat, squeezing just enough. But you're the devil. The Entangler's remote trigger hummed in my pocket. Lena's failsafe. Voice activated. Overwrite, I gasped. Sync surged. A supernova in synapses. Victor's soul screamed silent as it overwrote into void. My essence flooding back into him? No. The rig's twist. It bound the winner's will. I felt the shift. Bones reshaping in quantum flux. But wrong. Emerging. I stood in my skin. Genesis again. Mud-caked and whole. Victor slumped. Empty vessel. Eyes vacant as crashed code. Had I won? or become him. Feds swarmed at dawn. Lena waiting in the wings with lawyers and leaks. Headlines hailed me. Dev exposes Apex atrocities. Takes down tycoon. Equity reinstated. Book deals inbound. The American Redemption arc scripted tight. But in quiet nights, the bay's fog rolling in, I feel the echo, his memories, my guilt. The crash's mercy? Debatable grace. Victor's betrayal? My blueprint. Was it revenge? Or recursion? I log into the rebuilt MineLink. Fingers flying, wondering if the next swap's already coded. After all, in the valley, souls are just data deletable, duplicable, eternally debatable.